Hello, welcome back. We're now at Carlos, who is one of my favorite engineers because he's constantly challenging the rest of our team to just try new and more innovative approaches to development. So we have Carlos, and it's
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. Thank you all of you for joining us in this presentation. So I will tell you about testing Liferay plugins. And what's special about this is that we are going to use this Arquillian technology. This is a project, an open source project, that allows us to build real tests for our plugins. So in the past, it was difficult to have a test culture related to plugins because these plugins depend on the Portal runtime and they have a different life cycle, which means that you have to deploy them inside the Portal in order for them to work. So this presents some challenges when you're trying to create tests for your code, right? And so you all have been challenging these problems. We were yesterday talking about some of these in the open sessions in the unconference. But now today I'm going to try to present you some of the things we are doing to make this easier for you. Okay, so how did we usually accomplish testing in the plugins before? Okay. We used to embed unofficially, right? People used to embed JSPs and execute them inside the portal, like manually. Okay, so I have this JSP with a lot of test code or just kicking some test code, and I will use a manual or a trigger Selenium or something to run the test and then gather the results from that JSP. Or other people used to use context listeners just to deploy the tests in the plugin and then keep them, run the tests. So we're talking about tests inside Portal, not unit testing or something that will mock the Portal and then try some tests. Okay, so these approaches that we have talked about have the drawbacks that they are not developer friendly. Okay. You can easily automate them. Of course, you can automate them if you do some work, but it's not developer friendly. And the results are not easily gathered, which means you can use the normal CI stuff that you are used to use, right? Because you need to make special code in order to get the results. On top of that, you cannot use your existing tools to run the tests, especially writing, right? You might be, or your build system or whatever you want to use. Normally, it's more difficult to integrate this. So how can we improve this? What can we do to make this easier? So we are going to use tools to deploy our tests into the container, which will be JBoss, Tomcat, whatever container you're using to run Liferay. We are going to run the test there and then bring the result back. So in a way which is transparent for your tools, so they know how to gather the results and to send them to you. So you can automate it for free. And we're going to use Arquillian for this. This is copied from the Arquillian website. You can check the URL there. Okay. So Arquillian is a framework that allows you to deploy tests inside containers and do exactly as I told you. Run the test there and gather the results back. So how do we translate this to Liferay? Okay, so for Arquillian point of view, Liferay is the middleware, it's the container. So the test is going to be handled to Arquillian. Arquillian is going to deploy that test inside Liferay and then gather the results back to the runner. It's as simple as that, but in order to use that, to be able to accomplish that, it has to use a protocol, right? So different containers will have different protocols. We are going to see that later. So in the case of legacy plugins, we are going to use the protocol of the container we are using. Like we are using Tomcat, you need to use Tomcat protocol, we're using JBoss protocol. Okay, so what does this allow us to do? This allows us to use our current test tools to run our tests. So So this includes your ID. So really, I can use my ID now to run the tests. Yeah, you can use your IDE to run the tests, which is cool. I mean, as you all know, Liferay plugins can be made out of plain Java EE web application, right? It's the way you're most used to use when you're building Liferay plugins. Or now you can use OSGI bundles, starting from 6.2, I guess, that you can use OSGI bundles, and it's going to be made in 7.0. Still, you can use the Java EE web application. So, in the case of Java EE applications, that plain web applications, you can test your plugins using Arquillian container adapters. These adapters exist already. Okay, so you can use Tomcat, Devote, GlassFit, Fuel Logic, put your name here. Okay, so these are existing today. You can use this already. And we combine these container adapters with deployment scenario generators that Liferay provides. Liferay has contributed this to Arquillian. So you can use them from Liferay SDK or from Maven Liferay plugins, depending on the builder you are using. So what are these deployment scenario generators? These are just some pieces of code that instruct Arquillian how to make something sensible for the container out of the directory structure from our plugins. So here's a snippet of calendar portlet tree, which has dark root that's typical in the Liferay plugins. And now we see down there a new test folder where we can put integration tests or unit tests. So now we can put some integration tests inside the folder, and that will be run inside the container. So how do the tests look like now with this? They look exactly like any other test that you might be having written before, but with this special runner. All you have to do run with Arquillian class with this special runner. And that's all. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. Okay, but how is this possible? I mean, yeah, this is possible because Arquillian is an extensible framework, so we are doing a lot of stuff under the hood. You configure Arquillian mainly with extensions, and you activate them by placing them in the class path. So we are going to use, for instance, the dependency systems, the dependency management system that you have, be it Maven, be it Ivy in the current SDK. So you can select which extensions you want to be present in your tests. And those extensions can be configured either by environment properties or by file properties. So your test can this one. This is the one that we provide. So this is telling Arquillian how to build because it's not normally something you can do in production in the default container. So to alleviate that task, we have provided you with a extensible Tomcat target in the SDK. So this is basically done for you. It's easy to do this if you use the SDK. Okay, so now we can see an example. We're going to try if everything works, okay? Let me just go to the console for this. So what we're doing here is, I hope you can see something. We'll try to. Guys at the back can see? Okay, cool. So I have a plain SDK here, right? And I'm going to build some hook, for instance. I want to test this. Okay. So what can we do? I'm going to create it right now. Like this, okay? In the folder, okay? Name sample Arquillian. So what I'm going to do is to create a new project here. This is the project now. So I'll add it to the ID. And okay, that's a bit. Here. Okay. So now you can see that the structure is empty. Okay, and now we have this structure, which is typical plugin structure. But you can see that we have this type XML file and this Arquillian XML file. Okay, this Arquillian XML file is for typical default configuration that we need to configure this. The Java default is going to be configured by default Tomcat and the user as a target. If you want to have different server configurations, you can just provide your Arquillian XML file or change it on the fly and everything will work. So you can target different containers with this. And you can see here an RV file. Okay, it is not by default. You have the target as I basically saw before. Okay, this is we're going to use a unit Tomcat and enter here to do the plugin. Okay, fine. So I also have here a running instance of the portal. Hopefully see here, okay, it's up and running, and you can see here the configuration that I told you. You can see the Tomcat user file here. It has an entry for the Tomcat user, okay? And we also have this JMX box activated in order to be able to access Tomcat model from JMX to deploy the information and gather information in the development file. So that's everything being done with the system, the state of Tomcat target. Okay? So to make this more dynamic, I want to just use the code that I have prepared for the demo. So let me change the branch. You have to wait for example. So now, okay. So in the example, you can see that I didn't do the example. It's my colleague did this. And it basically is a service wrapper. Okay? So we are deploying a hook that's creating a wrapper for the user service. And what we're going to do with this wrapper is that we are going to hijack the normal user creation, action, and we are going to change the name. We are going to change the name of the user. So instead of the provider user's name, we are going to always store this first name changed. So we want to write a test for our hook, right? And this is it. Here you can see the Arquillian, okay? And this is going to set up a company Okay, for the user to be activated. So because it's preferred non-activated. And here the tune down is going to clean all the data that the test has created. So you can use your used approach in JUnit to build tests. You can have your setup, you can have it tuned down, so everything will work as expected. So here we are creating a user, right? And now we are getting the content and we are asserting that the first name actually was changed. So it's different than the first name that is passed to the server. So we're actually trying testing out. So we can try this one here. So this is actually compiling our plugin, it's building it, and it's going to deploy it to the template, and it's going to run the tests. And hopefully we will see the information back in the run. Okay, you can see that there. You can see that it's ran our tests and we have no failures. Okay, so it worked. But I promise you that you will be able to do the same with your ID. So the only thing you have to do is to create a configuration to run a test with your IDE default runner. In this case, is JUnit. Okay, so let's try that. Now we can see here the runner, but you can do the same with Eclipse or whatever other IDE you are just using. Okay. Okay, so now everything has been deployed, the test has been run, and we got a green bar. So cool. The great thing about this is that we can change something in our code and see the effects that it has. So maybe you can go to here to the local service and say, okay, let's try something different. I will use just the first name. And I will try this. So I can try this like this. That's it. We see that the test fails now. So it has compiled the new code, it has bundled it up, and has sent it to the Tomcat server, right? And now we can see the failure that we have. So it says, expected first name changed, and the actual value that I received is this. The test is not working. So we can see now that we have made something wrong, and we can revert the change or fix it or whatever we need to fix the situation. And we can even say to the IDE now, please rerun the failed tests. In this case, we have only one test, so it's treated. In case you have like 50 services, you can only run the tests that failed. That's normal test tools. So you can see the tests. Okay, now everything is really already. So this is it. We can do the same, for instance, if we build our own services. Like I wanted to show you another example with a public service. This is pretty much the same, but this is not what you do. Now that you can do this with very little effort on your side. So it's the same, but we're going to go to bullets instead of hooks. We're going to create this bullets. Fast. So here's okay, so now we have basically the same structure as before, so I'm going to change the branch so we can see. hopefully you can see the code. Okay, cool. So what are we doing here? We are creating a new service out of Service Builder. This is the code of the service. It's a very easy service. It has a method to concatenate different data. So you can concatenate two longs, okay? Or you can concatenate strings or pools. It's very easy. So you have different strategies here. It's a dummy service. Test it, and then we can build a test. So yesterday some of you told me that tests can be useful as a documentation of how a service or something must be used. So maybe here you can say, okay, this is how my service behaves, right? So if I concatenate these things here, I should get these results. Okay, so let's try this. So with this, we are deploying the service inside Liferay and testing it. And the cool thing is that if our service needs some APIs from Liferay, they are going to be available for him. So we don't need, oops, something failed. Yeah, I must have to scrub something. So for that. Maybe they will clear the match topic or something. Yeah, so that's working. You cannot say it hasn't worked in the ID. Let's try again. Okay, great. It was something that was left in the branches. Okay, so that's it. So you can do the same stuff here. You can change your service and run your test while you're recording or whatever, and everything should be okay. So just to wrap up, some notes about the future. Like I told you, for modern library, OPI programs and support as well. Now we're working on it. You will need to change the way you write your tests. As I told you before, you only have to put the Arquillian right on top of your tests, and you're fine. So different container strategies are going to be supported, but not are supported already, which are managed, which is that the container is started for you or embedded. I don't think we are ever going to support the embedded option, okay? But managed, we are working on it. And learning tooling, this is going to be hopefully integrated into the Liferay IDE. And one of the things that we are working on is to be able to test all the layers. That would be controllers, views, using Word, graphene for formats and JSF. It's going to be very interesting. Arquillian has already support for all this, and we need to tell them how to talk to Liferay, okay, regarding all this. So you can find this example here in my GitHub if you want to have a look at them or whatever. That's it now. So if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
Does your example run in a Tomcat beside, or is it an embedded Tomcat?
No, it's running Tomcat. It's actually
running in the different tasks.
Yeah, it's a running Tomcat, and it's running in this port locally. So in case you have a Tomcat in another server, you can put a host here. It's all documented. You can put host there, and you will reach a host in another machine, and you will deploy the models there.
Okay, if you started before you start the test, and runs, start once, takes a while by itself, and then multiplying the hook or what you tested, and test it, and
yeah, you use the remote approach that you can configure how do you want it to be using this. We are saying that we are going to use the remote approach here. So once you have the container running, you can throw all the tests that you want to it. Yeah, it's going to be fast. That's why it's supposed to be fast.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, with all of those. But you can also use manage here. You can change your strategy here. You can instruct your plugin or whatever to use different dependencies, and then this will start the container for you. So you can provide the configuration here. You can say, okay, my Tomcat installation is in this directory, and if you have already Liferay installed that Tomcat, it will start a Tomcat for you, run the test, and then turn it down. So it's very CI compatible. You don't need to do everything. Everything's not for you. But you can choose. I mean, some people prefer to start the container themselves for different reasons. Other people prefer to have it started. Depends on you. You are free to start here.
I think we have time for one more question.
We have two questions. First one is you, in your first example, you add a user to the database, so you have to clean up later manually, yeah? Or is it automatic somehow?
It depends. It depends on the way you're doing your tests. If you are using a green database in your Tomcat, then yeah, it would be wise to just clean the data. Or you can have some other strategy for tests to be choose. In this case, we're using a payment sequence behind it, so we're paying it now.
Okay. And the second question is, we can just be sure we can already use this with 6.2 right now. 6.2.
Yeah, you can use this for 6.2, yeah. Okay. And actually before as well, as long as you have the things configured properly, and I think you can use the SDK, the latest SDK with forward versions of Liferay. So as long as you are up to date with the SDK, it will be fine. Yeah, you can use this. Any more? Do we have time for one more?
Excellent.
Very short question. Is this available also for Maven plugin?
Excuse me?
Can you run this in Maven setup?
Yeah, in Maven. Yeah, you can use the plugin in Maven, and you must use the Maven extension there.
Okay.
Instead of the AND one.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Carlos.
Okay, thank you. Okay, fine. Do you have more questions? If you have any more questions, I'll be around, so it's fine.